This is part 6 to the Mermaid Saga. If you haven't seen 1 through 5, here's where they're located in a playlist 1 through 5. Before we get started, TikTok, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Don't get your panties in a wad. Allegedly. Luke tells Burgess that he's sick and goes to see if the door is unlocked. It is. He finds a laptop, which is password protected, so he can't get into it, and 2 filing cabinets. You know, the kind where the top 2 drawers locked, but the rest of them are open. He's in there for probably 10 minutes and feels like he hears something, and what he's seeing is freaking him out, so he hightails it the fuck up out of there so nobody catches him. He goes back onto the deck. It tells him he's feeling a little bit better. You know, he just needed to take a breather for a minute. And tells Luke and Landon, hey guys, I need to talk to y'all later. And they're like, what was in there? What was in there? And he's like, I will tell you at dinner. Landon and Luke are chomping at the bit because they want to know what he saw in there. And Luke starts acting weird and is trying to kind of work off by himself and stay away from Landon and Travis. Like, they got this eerie feeling that he's avoiding us now. He tells him what he found in the bottom drawer was a shit ton of IDs that all had Burgess's face on them, but all different names from different locations, different, like, ports. He also found files on all of the workers and noticed that you're a felon, I'm a felon. You know, all of them are felons. Weird, huh? And there was one drawer on the desk that was open, and it was titled Luke. And they all think at this point that they're going to be going back home. And Luke's like, no, it says in that file that they're taking me back to the facility. He was like, but don't start acting weird, because he hasn't even told us where we're going yet. We can't start acting like we know. And he said, you see anything else? He was like, no, I heard a noise and I got scared shitless. So the fact that Burgess' name might be Burgess, but it might not be Burgess, is enough to trigger red warning flags, even more so than they already were. And Travis is like, F this, we're going to go back in there and look around some more. Because he's ready to go the hell home. Anyway, they end up not being able to get back in the office, but one part that I left out was that he did end up finding out some information about this island. And I don't know if I told you in another part or not. I think I might have skipped ahead of myself. Anyway, in the water surrounding this island, there is satellite technology that makes it to where no one even knows that this island is there. And immediately where my mind went to in this part of the story is, oh, remember those 7,000 islands that just appeared around Japan that no one ever knew were there? What was this, like last year or the year before? Long story short, they're headed back to the island. Burgess makes the announcement, hey, we're going back over here. We need to take Luke over here so that he can get more medicine because he's had to go up in dosage. But when they get there, he goes back and he doesn't come back out right away. They were doing some testing. Comes out a day later and all of their patients is wearing thin. You know what I mean? Like Landon and Travis, their patients is wearing thin. They want to go home. And Luke is acting stranger than he was on the boat the last time. And finally they get a chance to talk. And Luke is like, we got to get the fuck out of here. He was like, what I saw back there was insane. Now, he said that the room that they took him to initially, they gave him something to help him relax. And then, I guess, they put an IV in his arm or whatever, and whatever they gave him knocked him straight out. But he ended up waking up in another room, kind of like the sedation wasn't working like it would on like me or you. He went in laying down and came out sitting up in a bed strapped. Thinks he's hallucinating, and there are these tanks across from him, not only that has what looked like the one that they originally had brought to the lab, one of the sirens, but there's like 4 or 5 more tanks in there, and he can't exactly see them, but he's closest to that one. Said he had something on his head, which makes me think they were trying to check his brain activity, although the story never states. And remember how I told you that, like, he could hear them or whatever? I think they were trying to see if he could communicate with them telepathically. One thing they noticed when they got to pull out to leave, let me see if I can find a picture of what I think it might look like, and I'll be right back. Something maybe kind of like this, not this one obviously, but there's different slips for boats, okay? And they noticed that they're all full this time. When they pulled up twice before, they were the only ones there, but it looked like other crews. So basically, they're not the only crew out there doing this. They do end up going back home for 3 days and let everybody disembark this time, but when they do, something strange starts happening. Luke starts to get super duper paranoid, and it's like if he goes to the store, there's someone always lurking behind. He starts to get the feeling somebody's constantly watching him. And in this story, we never do find out whether Luke is just paranoid or whether there was people watching him. I'm willing to bet there were. join me for part 7 because we're getting to the ending and it's pretty intense.